Welcome to the second video, which explores the different roles of middle leadership as identified by John DeNoble in the theoretical model of middle leadership. The model identifies 6 different roles which are underpinned by the research but also from a survey that John undertook with colleagues in Australia and New Zealand. The 6 different roles are underpinned by a leadership and management continuum, which we'll come back to towards the end of the video. The first role is identified as the student focused role. This role identifies working with students and dealing with such issues such as problem behaviour, welfare needs, academic choices, and a link between home and school. The research identified that a significant proportion of middle leaders' time is spent working with individual students on areas like this. The second role is identified as the administrative role. This involves developing procedures and implementing them so that tasks can be carried out effectively. This might involve the development of systems such as files or forms which may relate to achievement or behaviour across the department or area. The purpose of this role is to promote efficient use of time and resources. The third role is linked to that, and it is the organisational role. These are often treated together as managerial work, but this model highlights they do serve different purposes. The administrative role is mainly about dealing with things, but the organisational role primarily concerns people. They're both managerial in nature, but they do have different purposes. The organisational role involves planning, executing and implementing a range of programmes or events or activities, and increasingly is about collaborating with others in a team or department. In essence, it's about people. The fourth role is identified as a supervisory role, which can often involve evaluating the performance of other staff, which in turn involves monitoring and communication. This may include classroom observations, giving feedback on observations, and discussing performance on areas such as attendance management. The fifth role is the staff development role, and this involves building the capacity of staff members. The role of middle leadership includes the development, encouragement and moral support of staff, which may be through mentoring and coaching, which we will pick up within Module 1. This is where the links back to the knowledge of curriculum, pedagogy and assessment are important, because middle leaders are often regarded as good practitioners and they model best practice and lead by example. The role of staff development is even more crucial to ensure that middle leaders create an effective team to deliver on all the required outcomes, and it is not about the middle leader delivering everything individually. Therefore, this staff development role also includes the professional development of staff. The final role is the strategic role. This involves vision forming, goal setting and influencing. It's important that middle leaders persuade other staff to buy in and work towards the vision that's set. The research identifies that collaborative styles of leadership that cultivate positive, trusting relationships are beneficial. And this role is more likely to be easier to carry out if middle leaders are good staff developers, supervisors, administrators and organisers, because they are creating the optimal conditions for influence and change to take place. Below the different roles are the ways in which middle leaders carry this out, which can include managing of relationships, the importance of communicating effectively, the challenge of managing time effectively, and the importance of managing self. All of these are crucial in delivering on these different roles. The roles themselves are underpinned by the management to leadership continuum. Aspects such as student focused role are more managerial in nature, but it's important to highlight that it's not about management being bad and leadership being good, but highlighting that both are important. In fact, a managerial task, let's say an administrative role, which is tracking and monitoring, might then lead to a strategic change. Something might be identified from that piece of work that leads to a strategic change needing to take place within the department or faculty. So, these are both important in delivering on these different roles. The last video will look at the impact that effective middle leaders can have.